Hi, the Brisbane Broncos are 6-14 and 16th on the ladder after losing to the Dolphins 40-32 on Saturday night, losing to the Finns for only the second time in their history after giving up a 24-0 lead, and we're reaching once thought incomprehensible levels of over for the defending premiers, a title they hold until October, regardless of anything they do the rest of the way. I had hoped that in this run home they might take a couple scalps along the way, hopefully end the Bulldogs' hopes of making the 8. That would at least be satisfying, but this season continues to prove that it is the complete opposite of 2025. Last year was one of impossible hope that no matter what, they could always find a way to win. This year they can lose anything. But you know what? In this game, I'm going to stand up for my team and say that they were genuinely robbed in this one. And to help me with that, we're going to do an editing trick. Above my head are screenshots, second by second, of the line which Todd Smith sets after Jordan Ricky plays the ball before Billy Walters, and shit, he made it onside. And I genuinely went through the rulebook again. I litigated this. I got counsel involved. I'm down 200 grand, and I don't have an excuse for why my team lost. And what? You're telling me that Kurt Donahue was fast enough to make it back 12 meters before Billy Walters can make it back 10? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. But why can't players on my team do that? Shit. That really hurt my head. A related personal anecdote about that try: while they were replaying it in the stadium waiting on the bunker, they played the theme to Interstellar, and I had these youths sitting behind me, and one said to the other, "What's that song from?" To which came the answer, "Oh, it's from some old movie." Old movie? Interstellar is a new movie! Matthew McConaughey still has it. Pull up his IMDb. Oh no, he's stuck in streamer slop jail and he's playing a beekeeper in his latest movie? My goat is washed. Anyway, these youths, or potentially adults, they did have access to a betting account. As soon as Ezra Mam scored his first try, this guy started going on about, all I need now is for Mariner and Karapani and Walsh to score. That's all. And I feel very strongly about this. If you are in public talking about what you need for your multi and it's that many legs 3 minutes into a game, you need to be muzzled. That can't be part of the public discourse. You're an addict, you need help, and most of all, you need to shut up about your multi in every circumstance, but especially in public. I started hoping Karapani wouldn't score because sitting directly behind me was a live update of this dude's desperate attempt to free himself from the chains of capitalism by banking on a 5-leg multi to free him after only 3 minutes of game time. I don't understand how you can watch the sport like that and enjoy it. Anyway, back to the game. Even if we lived in a world where Donahue didn't make it back 10 and the Broncos were awarded a penalty try because of it, I still don't know if they win this game from there because, like I said, this team could lose anything this year. Here's just a random selection of embarrassing losses that they've had this season. They got beaten at the death by Jonah Pezzett and the Eels. They staged a false comeback against the Roosters and lost the game on a turnover by one of their franchise players, which made another one of their franchise players so angry he got suspended for a couple of weeks. Then they gave the Dragons their first win of the season, ending the longest losing streak in their club's history. They lost to the Titans. I don't think I need to add anything to that. They were absolutely decimated by the Rabbits on Jai Arrow's night, and now they give up a 24-0 lead and let in 40 points in 47 minutes and do that good old 2024 staple of conceding 3 tries in 10 minutes, something they did 5 times in that season. Broncos opened the game with 4 tries in 20 minutes and entered halftime with only a 6-point lead. How is that even possible? I saw it live and hardly believe it, and this is a failed season gone on too long. But still would have warmed my heart for the Bronx to have at least remained undefeated against the usurper team all season. The Broncos could not have got out to a better start in this one. Billy Walters making Madge look awful silly, having held him on the bench for Corey Pakes for so long in those last 2 must-win games. And I don't know if swapping Walters and Pakes would have changed the outcome as a result, but for a team that was struggling for points and was literally last in the league for dummy half meters, could things have been different with a get-out-and-go dummy half taking the game on? It's not a very useful question, but it's one that I'd like answered in the off-season review. Have they booked in one of those yet, by the way? I hate to say it, but the spoon is still in play. Look at the Dragons run home. This season can get worse. Last time they did a post-season review, it wasn't even this bad, and they just got some academic from Bond, which, first of all, that's an inherently contradictory title. That's just someone who spent so much money at the university that they take pity on them and employ them. And all he did was send around a survey monkey, sit down with a couple of players and ask them to slag off Kevy, then recommended they sack the coach, sent through his invoice for 120 grand and went back to sitting around all day on LinkedIn. I once again repeat my mantra that the fish rots from the head, and that in this decade, the only constant for the Broncos has been unexplained and unexpected failure. So questions have to be asked of the rotten fish heads presiding over the place. But of course, the board isn't going to engage a review with real teeth that could actually make recommendations that affect them. They're more likely to get the Carter boys in to spend 3 months only to conclude that the green wig means funny. So, next best option, I go into the club with a pen and a clipboard and refuse to leave until I get some answers to questions like, why is the biggest club in the league that just crossed 70,000 members this year, more than the capacity of the home stadium, not an indomitable force constantly at the top of the league, constantly contending, not completely cratering every second year, and letting the greatest physical specimen to ever play the game follow the foundation coach that is off with another club because he's still mad that they sacked him twice and didn't back him against the media when he left his wife, allegedly. And probably because the club finally won a premiership without him. Pretty cool how Billy Walters kicked a 40-20 in the second minute though, right? He was incredible in this first 20 minutes, taking the game on, attacking the line, looking for the gap between Katoa and Bostock and running right through it. Man became the first Broncos player since Alfie to score an in-half hat-trick in this one. That was cool. And they had so much success attacking Bostock in that first half that in the second half they decided to stop doing it entirely. They were really successful running the same tactic. Two of Mam's tries, Mariner's try, and Willison's try. They scored basically within a 5-meter radius around Bostock, and then they decided, cool, these guys can't stop that, let's never do it again. Then they let the Dolphins back in the game after 25 minutes when Duffy and Hunt combined for an error. Whether Duffy threw a poor pass or Hunt overran it, I'm not sure, but I would like to use this opportunity to voice my concern that Duffy is not ready, or worse, doesn't have it. I think he's just that little bit off the pace for first grade right now, or alternatively just doesn't have what it takes to compete at the level. He's like 4/5 of the way to being really good, but it's the finishing touches, the fit tackle options, the precision kicks, the stuff that Pezzett has shown that he's missing as part of his game. And he's 23. Maybe this is just who he is. I've been critical of Reynolds going on another season, but I don't think that things are dramatically different with Duffy at the helm all year, and we have no way of telling what Kobe Black would have done since Canberra don't want to play him either. But whenever Duffy has the ball on fifth tackle, I just wish it was someone else. But as I was saying, that error led to the entire field opening up for Hammer and the beginning of the humiliation ritual. There's no chance of stopping him at full flight in a situation like that, but it was one of 2 tries scored in pretty similar circumstances in this game. A Dolphins player scooping the ball up off the turf and strolling through the posts untouched. Then Lemuelu scores 2 tries. The first, he's too big, too strong. Katoa sets him up one-on-one with Staggs, and Katoni does his best but can't hold on. His second, Walsh has to join a tackle when Semu and Hunt are struggling to bring down Tom Flegler. He ends up on his back, and it's a simple kick by Katoa into the space Walsh should be. Broncos had absolutely no answer for Katoa in this game. He was dictating terms. They were barely pressuring him with kick chases. He was just setting up absolute nuclear sets designed to exploit the Broncos' weaknesses. Just bring Hammer inside Bostock and react to Mariner's decision. As Arco gets one-on-one with Ezra, big right foot step, free money. Then no one puts pressure on him at all, and he sets up a kick for Hammer to do to Walsh what Tedesco did to him in Origin 1. And since this game put me in a bad mood, I say thank you, Hammer, for not catching that and costing Queensland the series. And after a miss kick, the final humiliation, the Dolphins go through the hands from one side of the field to the other, the link pass being made by the son of a guy who won 4 rings with the club and was only offered a train and trial, and out to the winger that they gave up on. No, the other one, the one they gave up on last year, to score the game-clinching try and secure the Dolphins' first finals berth in their history. Broncos lead by 24 and lose for the first time in their history, a record I didn't even know they had, but I wish they'd kept, and it's the final nail in the coffin. This season is dead. We don't need to bury it, just cremate it, throw its ashes into the sea and forget it ever happened. It had to be Cobbo to score in Indigenous round at Suncorp against his old club, and he hits the massive celebration, and unfortunately, I have no option but to acknowledge that was very cool. Billy Walters 3 points, Ezra Mam 2 points, Selwyn Cobbo 1 point, I miss you. I don't think the Dolphins have my support the rest of the way. I just don't think I can bring myself to do it. What do you mean I'm supposed to have something in common with someone whose show holiday was on Monday and not the far superior Wednesday holiday as we all know? But I'll do an update on that when I've calmed down, which will be never. Bye.